Well, here we are. So, I've been gone for quite some time at this point, and that is really a topic for another day that I am not going to cover really at all in this. Stay tuned for that soon. But I just kind of wanted to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 because it has been about 1 week since the system launched, and I've had the system since launch, and basically I just kind of wanted to, give my general thoughts about the system, 1 week in, because kind of at this point I'm starting to figure out what this system is all about, and I think everyone is kind of figuring out what the system is all about, and what this system is all about is exactly what is on the cover, and that is, this is another Switch. And now, some people may take that as a bad thing, but realistically, the whole ideology of this system is kind of like, don't fix what's not broken, and just take what was good, make it better, and kind of just all the other stuff that could maybe use some tweaks, we're gonna fix that. That's just kind of how I feel about the system overall. I mean, the original Switch was really like the system of my dream. I mean, I remember from a very young age just picking up my DS and wanting to play, Super Mario Galaxy on it. The Switch really made that possible. I mean, it was the first hybrid system of its time where, I can just pick it up and go and take it, and I can play my home console experiences with me on the go. That's its whole point. And so, really, what I was hoping for Nintendo's next system was kind of the exact same thing, just better. And I'm not alone in this. This is kind of the thing that everybody was asking for. They were asking for, Nintendo, we love this system. I mean, 150 million people bought the original Switch. That doesn't just happen. But this chip was actively outdated when it first released, so it was only a matter of time before it was going to become obvious that the system needed an upgrade. And 2024, even 2023, it was becoming more and more obvious that, hey, this system isn't going to last forever. We just need something a little more solid of an upgrade from here, something that feels like it's gonna last, because the Switch 1 is just kind of underpowered. That's not a hot take or anything. That is just, the Switch 1 can only pull so much weight. It pulled its weight for sure. I mean, I have probably the most games on my Switch than any other console. But basically, this was a long time coming. And now that we have the Switch 2, how are my thoughts about it? Well, it really just is a better Switch. Now, for some, that may be super boring, but for me, who really loves the original Switch, that's really all I could ask for. It is an upgrade in every meaningful way. I mean, I've been playing tons of Mario Kart World. I even went back to do some more Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and I have put so much time into both of those games that I really needed something in order for me to get back into them, and just them running at 1440p, 60 frames per second, that is such a monumental change to these already humongous games that they feel like fresh again. On top of the new mobile app stuff that Nintendo added to it, which it's kind of funny that as soon as the Switch generation ended, Nintendo actually started wanting to use the Nintendo Switch app more. But I wouldn't even say that the original Nintendo Switch era has ended. I would say it's more of just kind of taken a new shape and form. It has evolved at this point. This isn't simply N64 to GameCube. This isn't NES to SNES. This is more of the branding obviously is still very much the same. It is the UI, most of it it's like a continuation of the same thing in a different way than say Wii to Wii U was. This is really just, we're making everything you love about the Switch just better. I mean, other than the battery life. Because the Switch 2 is significantly stronger, like much, much stronger than the original Switch 1. I mean, Nvidia, I know, was putting out a statement saying it's like more than 10 times stronger than the original Switch. I mean, maybe, I don't know. That sounds like a little bit of corporate speak per se, but they're showing me Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom at 60 FPS in an open world Mario Kart game. I'm kind of cool with that. I have just been absolutely loving this system. For most of 2024, I was really just kind of PS5 only. I mean, there was some like Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. There was Nintendo World Championships, which I both loved that, and there was even Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and I have some mixed thoughts about that game. But for the most part, I was kind of like, after Super Mario Bros. Wonder came out on Switch 1, I was kind of like, all right, I'm kind of really desiring a bit of a power push for a system, because like once you do 4K games or whatever, you really start to notice the lower resolution images on less powerful hardware. Like when I was playing Switch 1, I would be playing Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom and all these other games, and I would be just going, what if? And the Switch 2 is really answering those prayers of mine, because it's doing those things. I mean, not Super Mario Bros. Wonder specifically, but certainly Tears of the Kingdom and a bunch of other Switch games. I mean, I've been going back to some Switch 1 games, and the performance boosts are just absolutely insane. I mean, especially for this piece of shit, but that's a discussion for another day. But the fact that, I mean, I was astounded picking up Violet again and seeing the game run at 1440p, 60 frames per second, and I was dumbfounded. I mean, I was a little disgusted that Game Freak and the Pokemon Company's way of fixing this game was putting out the Switch 2, but at the same time, the game is receiving new life. I mean, so many Switch games are receiving new life. It's really incredible to see. But who wants to talk about old games for forever? I mean, let's get to the bread and butter here. Mario Kart World is just absolutely phenomenal. It may be my favorite Mario Kart. Now, I know that some people have some gripes about the open world design and that it's not really the most in-depth experience, but at the same time, I wasn't really expecting Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild levels of open world for this game. Mario Kart is Mario Kart. The entire purpose of the game is multiplayer racing, which is the entire identity of the series. That's the reason the original Super Mario Kart was created in the first place. So I kind of knew going in that Grand Prix and Knockout Tour, those are the main modes, and Free Roam is kind of like, hey, we made this open world for other purposes, but if you would like to explore it at your leisure, here you go. We're gonna just let you do it right from the menu. And then you can do some fun little side missions, and you can collect these random collectibles that you can then get stickers to put on your car. It's all like, it's very substanceless, but at the same time, that's kind of what I was expecting. And honestly, the free roam mode is really just a mode to sit down and chill after a long day of work, and you are just kind of doing some things, but you're not really having a specific goal. It's a very much chill, wandering game to play while you're also talking to someone else and having conversations or whatever. It is a very much super not deep video game experience, but at the same time, it's kind of what I was expecting, and I can't really complain about it. Now, would have more depth been wanted? Yeah, probably, for sure, but I'm not gonna lie and say that, oh man, the free roam, the lack of content in it is just, it really bothers me, because to be completely honest, it doesn't. It is just a lively world full of cool things to look at and drive around and listen to the music, because I mean, honestly, most of the enjoyment of Mario Kart World it's just the soundtrack alone. It's absolutely phenomenal. This is probably one of a top 10 or top 5 soundtrack for me now. And that's pretty crazy considering the fact that I was expecting good music, and especially coming off of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which people have to remember, the original Mario Kart 8, when it released on Wii U, it came with everything it needed and not that much more. And I expect Mario Kart World to be coming out with more updates in the future. Now, whether those will be free updates or paid DLC, that is a whole different conversation that I'm really not interested in having at the moment, because the whole discussion around this system and Mario Kart World in particular is just absolutely draining. I don't care that much. Clearly, I paid $80 for the game. For me, I have been playing Mario Kart 8 for like over a decade at this point. And for me, I don't care if it's $80. I just want to play the next Mario Kart. And for me, Mario Kart is a game that I am going to play over and over and over again for years and years and years. $80, while I don't know why Nintendo's doing it, I don't agree with the fact that they're charging more for their games, but at least I can go, well, that sucks. I guess I'll just buy it anyways though, because I mean, look at me. But as far as like the system itself, $450, that's not really a shocking price. I remember watching the Switch 2 Direct where they were really going over the hardware for it, and the moment they brought up the 120 hertz screen, I knew immediately. It was like, okay, this is a much nicer LCD screen than I think what we were expecting. This system is not going to be $400. It's going to at least be $450. And I was kind of right on the money there. But as far as the system itself goes, I mean, transferring over stuff was super nice. The performance is great on every game. It's even made games like Hyrule Warriors, which hasn't gotten an update or anything like that. It just runs way better. And it's clear that like just putting in or loading some games on Switch 2 just make them run better. And so that's kind of what I would say is my biggest recommendation for this system, is that if you enjoy the Switch 1, my suggestion is save up, put in the money, maybe even sell your Switch 1 to get a Switch 2, purely because I think the Switch 2 is going to have an 8-year lifespan similar to the original Switch. If you don't care about Mario Kart, I would say wait before purchasing the system. But as far as like me is concerned, Mario Kart Wii was the first video game I ever played. Mario Kart has a very special place in my heart. I played Mario Kart DS to death as a kid. And then the first game I got on Wii U was Mario Kart 8. So, and one of the first games I got on Switch 1 was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So Mario Kart is a big deal for me and my family and my friends in particular. So it just made sense for me. Hey, I want a Switch 2 at launch. I want all my games to run better. There's a new Mario Kart coming out. The future looks bright for this system. They have tons of games lined up for it. They have Donkey Kong that's coming out next month. And then you have all these Switch 1 games that are running so much better. And you have Metroid Prime 4. It's gonna run better on Switch 2. It's still a Switch 1 game, but at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, I'd rather play the version with mouse mode, you know? I've been doing Welcome Tour, and you know, I'm a bit of a tech nerd, so I think buying Welcome Tour is kind of dumb, but also at the same time, the appeal of Welcome Tour is far more niche than I think a general audience would appreciate. So while it's kind of dumb that Nintendo is charging $10 for what is essentially a bunch of tech demos and interactive stuff about teaching you about the hardware, at the same time, it's not, say, Wii Sports on the Wii, where like that game was integral to teaching you a lot of the system's functions and explaining and validating why a certain control method was the primary use of that console. Whereas for Welcome Tour, it's more of like, hey, this system runs 4K and can do 120 hertz screen. Hey, the wattage on the AC adapter is 60 as opposed to 39 watts versus the original Switch one. Like, most people don't freaking care about that. But for someone like me who appreciates the more technical side, and I like to see about all the details and stuff that goes into making these systems and consoles, for me, it appeals to me quite a lot. I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying using the new mouse controls and trying them out and doing all this stupid shit that doesn't really matter. The Switch 2, in a nutshell, is more of the same, but better in kind of every way. I guess other than the game key cards thing, which for the most part, I'm just gonna try and wait that out and see what's going on with that, because as you can see, I like to pick up physical games more than anything. But really, I bought this system to play Mario Kart at launch and to see what the future holds for Nintendo at this point. Nintendo is my favorite video game company. That doesn't mean I think everything they do is right, but I can't really lie and say that I'm not satisfied with this launch and with this system, because I really am. I think the Switch 2 is a great system. It might be my favorite system now, just because it, like I've said many times throughout this, is that it is the Switch 1, but better in almost every way. However, the Switch 1 does have an IR sensor, and the Switch 2 just doesn't have it. So honestly, take my money back.